Hello, welcome to another video. If you've seen the thumbnail, you know what this video is about. We're live streaming this one, so fingers crossed it goes really well. Yeah, today we're going to be building an LED bar graph with an Arduino, a little project. It's going to be a trim pot. You turn the trim pot and that adjusts how many LEDs are lit on the bar graph. If you're watching this on the replay, you'll have seen the thumbnail. That'll tell you exactly what we're doing. If it's the first time you've seen me, please smash that like button, give me a subscribe, and make sure you turn the notification bell on. I'm going to be doing more tutorials like this in the future. Let's get straight into starting to build this circuit up. Should be on the desk now. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I don't know whether anybody can or not. Let's have a quick look on the chat to see if the audio is coming through okay. I've been working to try and make the audio better this time. The last video was not very good. So yeah, somebody's commented there. Reviewer, the audio is great. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I don't know whether anybody can or not. Turn that off. Right, turn it off. Yep, so as I say, we're live, so there's all sorts of things going on here. Hopefully we shouldn't be on the desk anymore. We should be I don't know what's going on. Screen. Yes, that's what we want. Screen. We're back on. Right. Okay. Here we go. As I say, we are live, so everything that can go wrong may well do so. So first things first, I'm going to grab an Arduino Uno, put one of them on there. We're going to need a bar graph. Go for the red one. Need a resistor. Now, what we're doing, this is a 10 segment red LED bar graph. We're going to hook that up to the Arduino, and we're going to have some current limit resistors in there as well. And we'll set them at 220 ohms. Need to create ourselves a bit more space. And we'll start that. We'll probably go for pin 2. I think we'll go for that. And what I'm going to do, so these are going to be the current limit resistors. Obviously we don't really want to put the full 5 volts through these LEDs. Right, and duplicate these up. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. With a ground connection there as well. There's my ground connection. Wire all this up quickly. And then once we've got this schematic connected, we'll drop into Arduino IDE and we'll get some code written, and then we're going to build the circuit up on a real Arduino, download the code into it, and hopefully we'll see it all working. Now, these 10 segment bar graph displays going across the pins there, so pins 1 and 20, that's where the LED is connected. Now, I have looked up some data sheets, and normally you'd expect the anode of the LED to be connected to pin 1, so on the left hand side, and the cathode of the LED to be connected to the right hand side. And I'll drop the model number of the bar graph display that I've got here in the description after this video finishes. And what I found was actually the pin numbers appear to be reversed. So all I'm going to do when we actually build the circuit up on the breadboard is I'm just going to turn that round basically, and I want what we're going to do is I'm going to have a little trim pot connected to one of the analog inputs, and that's going to allow us to adjust how many LEDs segments are lit. I've got one of them there. I'm going to connect it to ground on one side. I'm going to go straight into analog input A0, and we need a power. I'm going to connect that to 5 volts and connect that down to there. I think that's nearly everything connected up now. The only thing we need to do is to configure the power rails, and we just need to indicate that this 5 volt is a VCC line. So I think that's how we're going to connect everything up. And what we're going to do now is we're going to drop into the Arduino IDE, and we're going to start to get some code together. So while we're doing this code, we need a couple of constants that we're going to declare just to make code easier should we have a different LED segment array, or if we want to change the analog input. So we're just going to declare those. All being well, this is coming through okay. If you are enjoying this video, please feel free to smash that like button. It'll be very much appreciated. As I've said before, this is live. Anything that can happen probably will happen. So the first constant that I've declared there is the bar graph size, and that basically means that we've got 10 segments on our bar graph display. The next constant that I'm going to declare is going to be which input, analog input, I'm going to use for the trim pot. So I'm going to take that into pin A0. Next, we need to declare an array. We're going to have an array where we're going to hold the digital output pins that we're using to illuminate the LED segments. So I'm going to declare that array here, and again those square braces indicate that it is an array. And I'm going to use, as we've seen on this layout here, we're going to go between pins 2 and pin 11. So we're just going to declare those here now. Nine, 10, and 11. Oh, not 100. 11. That's that declared. And we want a variable. And this variable we're going to use when we read in the trim pot value, the potentiometer, we're going to read it into that variable, and we can then make use of it. Next is the setup section. So this is the code that's going to run as soon as we start the Arduino up basically. What we need to do is we want to put in there we want to set the pins to outputs, and I'm also going to set the actual lines to low just as belt and braces, so we're initializing everything into a known state. So for loop, and we're going to have a loop variable called bar segment. So we're going to go between 0 and less than the size of the bar graph. And then we've got our incrementer next. Close that off, open our for loop. Okay, so we need to first of all tell the Arduino that we're going to use the set pins as outputs. I'm going to loop through the array. Pins. I think I've just spotted a typo earlier on. We'll go and fix that while we're thinking about it. I'm going to set that to an output. I'm going to do the same here. So digital write and set that index through that array. Set those outputs low. And what I've noticed here is I've declared this array here as bar pin up here, but I'm referring to it later on as bar pins. So just correct that so it all matches up correctly. This forms the initialization part. So we now can move on to the loop part, the main code body. And the first thing we need to do here is read in the analog value that's going to be given on this trim pot. Analog read. And just to show you what's happening here, because I've declared pot input as a constant, which is pin A0, I can then just refer to that here. So if at any time, if we have to move that over to analog input 1, we can just change that in one place in the code here without having to find it right the way through the code. So we're going to now work out, we've read the pot, we're going to get a value, analog value between 0 and 1023, and then what we need to do now is we now need to map that so it goes between a value of 0 and 9. Now you might think, where's 9 come from? But obviously there's 10 segments, so we're starting at 0, so if you count the segments through we'll end up at 9. Let's do that bit now. And we're going to use the function map from 0 to 101023. I'm going to translate that to 0 to bar graph size. So again, as you can see, I'm actually making use of the constant up here further on in the code. That might be if we get a bar graph, LED bar graph of a different segment size. Again, we just change that in one place up here, makes it nice and simple. And now that we've got that value, we know how many LEDs we want to illuminate. We're going to loop through that and start lighting those LEDs. And here's our loop forming together now. Bar segment is less than bar graph size and our incrementer okay, and what we need to do now is we're going to basically have an if statement such that if the LED should be illuminated, we're going to send that as a digital write high. If it shouldn't be illuminated, we're going to set that as a digital write low. You need to set and clear accordingly, because if you've illuminated all the LEDs and then the trim pot value is reduced, you don't want to actually then be leaving the LEDs that shouldn't be on still illuminated. So that's why we're going to switch them on and off all as one cycle. So here's our code where we're going to switch on the LED. That's our code to do that. And then here we want an else. And we're going to copy that across. And we're going to set that to low. Now, unless I've made any typos, that is going to be the code complete, I do believe. Let's just see if this compiles. We're okay to save it anywhere. Let's have a look. Yeah, okay, it looks like we've gone through. Let's just load that into Proteus. And let's see if that runs. I'm going to select my hex file. Here's my hex file. Click open. Click OK. Simulate. Ooh. So in Proteus we can basically adjust the value of this pot here. If we click here, we can go down, and if we click this one, then the wiper is going the opposite way, so that goes up, and we can light all 10 segments. So yeah, it looks like we've got some working code there. So the next step is we're going to switch to our desk view, and we'll build this up in real life, and let's take a look. And then we're going to load some code into it and see if it works. So we'll switch over now. This, and hopefully we're back on. Here's our collection of bits which we've got here. This is the 10 segment LED bar graph, our Arduino, some wires, and these are the current limit resistors, 220 ohms. This is the trim pot. Okay, let's start wiring things up. Now what I did notice was, as we look on the back of this, we've actually got some pin numbers, and this is pin 1 over on the top right as I'm looking at the underside, and this is pin 20. And normally you would expect the anode on this side, according to the data sheets that I found on the internet, the anode on this left side and the cathode on the right hand side. What I found is actually it's the opposite way round. So I don't know whether we can see this. Try and move that so you can see it. So basically I'm just using this battery just to confirm the way the LEDs are. So actually this 20 side here is actually the anode side, so the left hand side, and the cathode is the pin 1 side. So basically this side here, this side here needs to be connected to the Arduino. So I'm going to pop that in this breadboard, move that battery out of the way. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to join up the ports that we've allocated over to this side using these short little jumper wires. So I'm going to go from pin 2, wire that onto here, and we'll Keep going up down this side. Shouldn't take us too long. Make sure we don't miss a pin, which we have here. Okay, keep going through all the way through here. Shouldn't take too long. In fact, I'll go down this side first. Hopefully you're following along with this. While you're watching me connect all these wires up, now's a good time. If you're watching, you're enjoying this, please give this video a like. How am I doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's all about 10. So I'm just going to connect them up this side. Next wire on here. And that one is next. Quite a few wires on this one, just to get connected up. The next fun task will be current limit resistors. And the last one. Yeah. Good, good. Right. I'm going to do the current limit resistors now. Bring these across down to here. These are 220 ohms. It's a fairly standard value. Did have to search through a big stack of resistors to find these. 3. And 4. Trying to do some more videos. You all at home learning electronics, Arduino. You are interested in seeing what other videos we're making. We're trying to make quite a few more videos. Please do subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next upload. We will really be pleased to see you watching our next video. Don't be a stranger. There's always one that won't go in. And then there's one more after that. Hopefully that's it. Let's try this last one. Getting close now. Currently got 64 subscribers. Would be really pleased if we can get to 100. You could actually be part of the people that were here right at the beginning. So just got the trim pot to connect now. And there. Across there. That's going to go into ground. Connect that up there. The ones go to positive. 5 volts into this wire. 5 volts. And this is going to be the value from the wiper of this potentiometer, and we're going to send this into A0. I think that's us all connected up. I'm connected up to the computer. I'm going to download the code now, so I'm just going to swap back to the screen. Back to Arduino Studio. Send the code over to the microcontroller. It's an Arduino Uno board we're using. Back to our overhead view. Should be back on now. The moment of truth. Here we go. This is where it'll work or it won't work. Let's have a look. So as we turn this trim pot, and basically we can see all of the segments of this bar graph illuminating. And back the other way again. And it still works if you do it quickly as well. You can't trick it. The only thing I'd probably do is just to swap that over just to make that a bit more natural. Swap that over there. Swap that over there. And then there you go. As you turn it clockwise, that increases the LED. So yeah, that's looking great actually. I'm really happy with that. Okay, so all being well, it should be back on me now. Hope you've all really enjoyed that. If you have enjoyed that, please do give me a subscribe. It really will mean quite a lot. We are going to be making quite a lot more videos. They are going to be live. Well, a lot of them are going to be live, so hopefully this is the content you enjoy. As we pick up more subscribers, obviously then we're going to get people on the chat and hopefully interact with you all a bit more. Yeah, thanks very much for watching, and